So
Welcome
yesterday
back to
was a
Red
good day
Sparks
for
Crypto Blog,
crypto,
your daily
particularly
run
for
through
the
of
alts. We
Cardano
saw a
and
lot of
crypto-related
high-rises.
news.
Bitcoin itself remains steady, which is a good thing. It gives the alts a chance to catch up. Ethereum has made some good gains. Let's take a look. Cardano has been doing okay. It's still not at the 220 mark, which is where I'd like it to be at the very least. So still undervalued in my opinion. But I expect in the next few weeks we'll start to see this creep up as we hear more and more news about the PAB being completed and the imminent launch of DeFi dApps on the Cardano platform. Solana obviously breathing down the neck of Cardano. It's made 33% gains in the last 7 days. Not as up as much in the last 24 hours, but not too far behind. And then if we very quickly just scroll down, yeah, we see there's been some big rises. Shiba Inu that everybody is talking about right now, making incredible gains. And then sorting it by highest movers in the last 7 days. I haven't heard of Secret before. I'll have to investigate that. That's a new one on me. Curve is a yield related DeFi token. Nexo is one that I hold, so it's good to see that that's been going up quite a lot. Harmony and Phantom, they're sort of similar to one another. So it's good to see that these ETH alternatives are doing quite well. I see graphs back on. Let's now take a look at Coty. So generally, good news all around yesterday for a lot of the as they represent cryptocurrency payments. That's the sort of area that they operate in. So to me, it's a good sense of how the market perceives the adoption of cryptocurrencies more broadly into day-to-day life for making payments for everyday things. And Coty have obviously got a big partnership with Cardano as well. So we see over the last 90 days, the price has been steadily going upwards, which makes complete sense to me. In the last 30 days or so, it's been up and down, up and down. But overall, I would expect this trend that we see on the 90-day to continue and head further upwards. I don't have any idea of where the price might go to. I don't actually own any Coty. I wish I did, but I just find it hard to sell my ADA for anything else. But certainly one to watch, and I suspect this will go a lot higher. Now let's take a look at the total market capitalization. This was very interesting. So we see over the 1 year period, the current market capitalization is actually a lot higher than it was back in May. And so it's actually the highest we've had it in, well, forever, I suppose. Let's have a look. So that's an amazing sign there. And as we'll see in the next article, a lot of that is to do, or the sort of increase in recent weeks is to do with the Bitcoin futures ETF that had launched. But this is an amazing trend to see, and one that hasn't been talked about enough. And then down here we have the DeFi market capitalization. Again, we see that this is increasing at an even sharper rate. So that's highly interesting to see where a lot of the funds are flowing into. So DeFi is certainly a hot topic. I'd be interested to see something like this for the NFT market. I haven't seen anything like that yet. But in my mind, DeFi is where a lot of the institutional interest will go to after investing in Bitcoin. $1.47 billion of inflows. Cryptocurrency industry faces largest investment flow in history. So we saw that in the previous chart where the inflow, the market capitalization has been steadily increasing. But if we zoom to this chart here, so we see really in the last week there has been a massive inflow coming in. And that 1.2 billion of that 1.47 billion, so the bulk of this increase was related to the ProShares Bitcoin futures ETF that launched last week. So even though the futures ETF market is not, it's not selling the spot price, not selling actual Bitcoin, it's selling sort of a paper version of Bitcoin speculating on the future price. Nevertheless, for ProShares to support that futures Bitcoin ETF, they do need to buy Bitcoin on the current market, and so you see that inflow coming in from their launch, from the funds that they've been getting, thus be entering the market. So that's something to bear in mind when you think that the futures ETF market doesn't have any bearing on today's crypto prices. The more we see futures ETFs being launched, the more we'll see funds flowing in to the current market. Down here, this was interesting as well. This shows you the flows by assets. So where are the big institutions investing? So we see obviously month to date, Bitcoin has been doing very well. Ethereum, interestingly, has been seeing institutional demand declining, and it's offset by both Solana and Cardano as the big gainers in the last month, particularly Solana here. So this is just a reflection that institutional investors are trying to diversify their sort of bet. So rather than just staking it all on, placing it all on Ethereum, the recognition that there could be Ethereum competitors coming up that could dethrone Ethereum's position. So that's what that is. But I thought that was very interesting to see. FTX founders on NFTs. I thought this was interesting. This test NFT that was minted on the FTX network as one of their first NFTs sold for 270,000 USD. That is absolutely crazy. I don't own any NFTs. I know a lot of people are FOMOing into them. I just can't get my head around them. In my opinion, at the next bear market, the price of these NFTs will plummet. Yeah, I just cannot comprehend the price of these NFTs, and I think, from what I can tell, it's just purely speculative. I doubt anybody is seeing them as a long-term hold, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. SEC looks set to unleash stablecoin crackdown in the US. So there wasn't any real detail as to exactly what type of regulation might be coming. But thinking about it, initially I was wondering, why are they targeting stablecoins of all things? Surely they're fairly harmless. They don't change price. But it's to do with, well, there's two reasons. There is the volatility into the US economy that this introduces when you've got all these other financial assets that are pegged to the US dollar, and then they're behaving as if they're an alternative to the US dollar, but without the regulation in place to ensure that they're minted properly. Rather than just sort of being invented out of thin air, and then also the consumer regulations. So if there was a run on these coins where people were trying to get their cash out for whatever reason, making sure that they are backed by something, so that people can do that. So that's consumer protection. So that's probably the type of regulation that'll be coming out, rather than a ban or anything like that. I expect it's just making sure that it's all heavily regulated, given the inherent risks that they introduce both to the traditional economy and the cryptocurrency economy. Rising institutional investment is fueling a crypto custody boom. So I think it was earlier this year, or maybe it was at the end of last year, that the SEC permitted US banks to be custodians of cryptocurrency. And so down here, Gary Gensler confirmed that the commission was focused on improving investor protection and regulation. But as anyone who's paid attention will know, the free market doesn't patiently wait for policies before putting its best foot forward. Instead, multiple firms have been busy building sophisticated solutions to assuage the concerns of institutions eyeing investments. So this is to say that whilst the SEC is faffing around, figuring out exactly what the regulation should look like, the fact that they've already said that they're not going to be banning Bitcoin or banning cryptos means people want to get ahead of the curve. in terms of offering services. These aren't always crypto native either. US Bank, the country's fifth largest consumer banks, launched custody services, enabling institutional investment managers with funds in the US and the Cayman Islands to securely store private crypto keys for their clients. The concerns of corporates contemplating a move into crypto are not inconsiderable, but generally speaking, they revolve around security and infrastructure. How can digital assets be protected against theft and seizure? And how can a crypto balance sheet be intuitively managed? So custody of crypto and crypto custody solutions are going to be very, very important going forward. And you'll see all the big banks now getting in on this as well. And then I would say probably a next step down that line will be questions around identity, which is where, as I said in yesterday's video, IOHK's Atala Prism solution puts Cardano in a very good position. Just 0.1% of Bitcoin miners control half of all mining capacity, according to a new study. I thought that was rather crazy. The top 10,000 individual investors in Bitcoin control about 1/3 of the cryptocurrency in circulation. And then also, where was this other one? Additionally, the top, sorry, not that one. The concentration of miners is even more profound. NBER found that the top 10% of miners control 90% of the Bitcoin mining capacity. So that's a new Bitcoin entering into circulation. Such a high concentration could make the Bitcoin network vulnerable to a 51% attack. So I think this is a very important point. So this company NBER, they applied a new methodology to try and better calculate who's an individual crypto or Bitcoin owner. So it'd be interesting if they could apply that same methodology to other cryptocurrencies, in particular Ethereum and Cardano. But certainly I think this should be a cause for concern within the Bitcoin communities. That being said, I have a feeling that it won't be. This is all stuff that should be of concern, but people tend to just prioritize numbers go up. So as long as numbers go up, people are happy. Same with Solana. Solana, we know, is heavily concentrated in the hands of some early investors. And as long as numbers go up, people seem to be happy. In the long run, however, I feel like this type of situation can lead to a lot of market manipulation, and so personally, it's not something I'm too comfortable with. Okay, and that's pretty much it for today. I had a quick look through crypto Twitter for Cardano related news. Didn't see anything significant, but I see a tweet by Cardano with Paul here saying that we're getting ready for a breakout. So let's see if that happens. But as I said in yesterday's video, I'm not really too worried by these short-term movements. I'm expecting the real breakout to happen more towards the end of November. That's it from me, and hope you all have a good day.